Yo, what up? Oh my god, seriously. What up? What up? Go, that's a little bit better. That's a little bit better. What's going on, boys? How we doing? Not bad. Let me see what's cracking
been?
with this sound. So I'll just whack on while I put this in the Discord and stuff, so everybody can jump in for this workshop. I'll whack it onto somebody's screen. What are you laughing at?
That guy again. He won't sack it.
Sack it. Yeah, it'll be all right, man.
He's looking for sack it.
Sack it. Only for sack it. All right, I'm going to pop it onto that. I'm going to just whack this in the Discord. Hopefully by then the gold would have gone up, and if not, I'd have been down another grand on stream. But there you go, Wilski. Is all over to you, mate.
All right, nice. Yeah, man. Been a tough week. Did not expect DXY to push up so quick. Really, now I am interested in where we're currently at because we're tapping back into near the highs that we previously had an issue at. So, especially towards the end of the week, if we fail to break up here, maybe this could be in jeopardy here. I don't know if my internet's that good right now. What's going on? But yeah, looking for downside. If won't be taking trades for the downside, I'll be waiting for it to set up more so to get that upside back in. But as for that, that's probably it for DXY. EU, it's got potential to still push back up. So what we've seen is we saw the weekly last week closed quite strong bullish. Daily so far has pushed down all week up to this point. Coming back into this area here, this little fair value gap, which I prefer to sell once we cleared these highs. And because we haven't, I'm still waiting for a sell. So because my target's going to be here, if I'm not confident, I'm not going to sell it, because if that's not going to take us to this low, I'm not really interested. So now I'd probably prefer to see that taken out and then sell it. That's EU for the rest of the week. Probably a no trade week for me. Just sitting out. It's been a very slow month, but kind of expected. GU though, on the other hand, see, it's got potential because we're struggling on the weekly at these lows. We've had 1, 2, 3 weeks fail. This week's already cleared previous weekly low. We're getting a massive pullback now. Same as EU, really tapping back into this daily. And if we start closing up, I still have my limits set currently for any kind of pullback higher up. I think this could be a trap and we could get induced before we see the actual lows cleared, which again, that's going to be my target. So I think at the minute it is a waiting game, which is tough on the higher time frames when you're eager to get in, which I am. But yeah, you can't force a trade. So that's it in a minute. And then gold to finish off. Where are we looking for gold?
Yeah, because you're short gold, aren't you, on macro?
Yeah, so it's really based on the anticipation that we're going to actually see some downside. We saw somewhat of a market structure break, but really this leg's so big going up, this could just be easily a pullback for the highs to be cleared. I took a sell only on a challenge account here. Did take a loss, but this trade has got targets down here for a little 25k phase one pass. So I will be holding this into next month, or at least to finish this month. Need to see what we do at 4k again, really, because we tapped off it start of the week and then we've come up. Still want to see these dailies respected if we're going to see new lower lows form, start breaking these lows and then get the overall push down. So that's it, really, with me.
Very nice. Go on, and we'll pass it over to the big man himself. Okay, what are we looking at on NFP? A little bit of news trading today.
News trading, NFP. You guys can see the screen, yeah?
Yeah.
Pretty much just following the trend from yesterday. Price just making higher highs, higher lows. Again, higher highs, higher low. Just quickly marked out the previous day high from last night. Price broke that, came back to retest. And yeah, just before NFP, there's just literally just two biases, and those biases are just if the news comes out literally positive, just follow. If it comes out negative, do the exact same thing. So yeah, the news came out. We swept Asia's high with that nice little wick. At the same time, it looked like we just came back to also retest this little area. And yeah, from there, just got some buys in, and
Clean.
hopefully the price just keeps going towards the
Yes.
upside. That's just that on the five. Not sure how far we can keep pushing. From the 1 hour, I had a zone marked out from a while ago. Oh yeah, it looks like we're strong for buys today, 100% on GJ. Then also, usually when it's NFP, you like to look at US 30. So I do think around 3 o'clock ish, US 30 should continue to buy towards the upside. Don't really have a target or anything like that since GJ's kind of done his thing, but just wait and see what happens with US 30. I think it might even continue, maybe start making new all-time highs if you can get an early buy down here. I don't think so actually. Yeah, US 30, just wait and see, but that's pretty much that, to be honest.
How did the US 30 open? Oh, okay, it's pushing up.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I think dollar has just been, it's getting absolutely smashed. Well, it hasn't been. It's not getting smashed now, but just after that news, it's taken a little bit of having a little bit of a push down. To be fair, which is quite nice. Obviously, I'll go through my charts and then we'll pass it over to Wilski so we can go through just a little bit of the market structure, because a lot of people actually like that last segment that we did, to be fair, Wilski.
Yeah, nice.
And it's also, to be fair, it's a pretty important. I think all of us actually use market structure as quite a important part of our trading. No, I think Denzel, you for market structure, that's like the base concept for you, and it's base concept for me. I think it's pretty much something that every single person needs to understand, and sometimes it can get a little bit complicated. So we've got the best person to tell us about it. So a couple of the trades that I had today, one of them was I took a little bit of a loss yesterday on this trade. So the idea was that we were going to come down and take the Asian range. It didn't quite do that. I got into it a little bit late, and then it just came back and took me out. Then the same idea came into the same trade again after it was breaking all of these EMAs and took it to the Asian low. So that was the only winning trade that we've got for today. And now I'm looking at gold actually coming and pushing up to maybe this level, or take out at least this high right here. On the higher time frame, we're currently just sat in this area, and it hasn't been able to push down. We've got maybe a potential head and shoulders kind of type of thing. You've got this area, another area sticking into the same zone, and it's found support all the way up until now. If we take as well this leg, and we find out currently we're trading into pretty significant support off this leg, broken up against these highs, came into one of those fair value gaps that Wilski likes, came back down for a retracement, and now it looks like we're actually holding support. So the idea for the session for me is we've got into a trade right here. I'm thinking that we're going to come and break out these highs. So I'm going to stick on the trade idea. Let's have a look. We got into it a little bit late, but it's fine. So that will be the trade idea, and we'll have a look at that after we finish with the segment with Wilski. You ready, big man?
Let's go, Will.
Let's go. Get the drums ready. Okay. Boom.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the weekly, daily, and then finish on the 4 hour. Try and bring them all together to get an understanding of how we move in the market. I think best example has been 2025 GU. It's been really nice for structure overall, apart from the summer. So we're going to start off back at the very beginning. Now, one thing to keep in mind really on the weekly, we can see that GU's been very bullish. So we saw these previous year sweeps over here, and we did get continuation. Now, the higher highs, higher lows got broken. Probably need to zoom in just to make sure it's clean. We got them breaks around here. So at this point, we just saw a huge drop off. Now, it doesn't mean necessarily we're bearish. We start seeing a drop all the way into the end of 24, continuing to break these higher points of structure. But on the bigger picture in the end is the actual overall low, which is actually all the way down here. Just kind of get that marked up. This is where it looks like we're still bearish, and obviously you'd be playing selves all the way down here, still creating lower lows, lower highs. You can see that big drop off there, but when we zoom out, especially, you can even go onto the monthly just for reassurance. You can see that it has been very bullish. And when you go down from the monthly, you can see that this at this point looked like an internal liquidity, even though at this point it was looking like this was our overall structural leg. So it tricks a lot of traders into trying to sell it. But once you start getting this low, you'd probably want to see further low breaks of the initial low, because especially here we consolidated. So really what it's going to do is it's going to show its hand going into the next few weeks. And already you start to get a big pullback from that low. And then we create a lower high. So if we're going to create a lower high, we're expecting to form a lower low to start 2025 to see that continuation of downside. We are going to get onto the lower time frames in a minute, but just at this point here, if we go to this, we start to create, even though it's a very weird weekly candle, does seem to be creating a higher structure point. Now, we obviously want to see this break to get more confirmation. We may be going back bullish. We've gone the daily time frame. You can start to see that we had the lower high. We had a further lower high, pushed up. Probably on a daily, you'd want to see this high broken at least. So currently, it's not really quite ready for buys, but going into the following week, you start seeing you're getting the breaks of these lower highs, especially this one here. And at this point, you can be more sure that we're going to start trading back up to higher liquidity points. Because even if, let's say we are going to go down, devil's advocate, we're going to want to see us take further liquidity to then drop. So if this wasn't enough, and we've cleared that, we're not dropping, we need to come higher. So you've got to keep that bias in mind for upside. So as we come into further daily structure, obviously you want to see this high cleared. So want to see highs pull back, still creating further upside. And you can see that the volume overall is quite strong. Now, what we can see is we had on the daily in here, anticipating pullbacks, because it can get quite difficult. If you're expecting highs to continue, but we formed this high here, we pulled back and then we tried to go up. We made a new high wick, but we didn't close with a body. So once you fail to a previous high, it makes sense that then we can start pulling back into these areas. So we can see if we zoom out, and even if you want to mark up like a daily fib or something like that, depending on how you mark it up, I'd probably mark it up from here. We can easily get pullbacks and still go bullish in a minute. And when you go back to the weekly, and you can see that we've had weekly close that's bearish, but at the same time, if we just skip the next few candles, we just start going back up again. I mean, look at that. It took out this low. Yeah, it went straight back up, and it continued up for the rest of like April, May, June. It all just went up. And once you start breaking this high, I mean, 100%, because this is the main proper structural high that formed this low, that if we're not clearing that and dropping, we're going for the next high. And then we're just continuing now with the overall higher time frame narrative to come up to the overall previous year highs. You can even zoom out here on the monthly. And look what it looks like. We took out this low, close, engulfed bullish. Next candle goes up, continues to just ride up really over the next coming months. And we do get heavy pullbacks in this time. So remembering that once we had issues at this high, we get the pullback. If we go onto the daily, we can see how this looked. I remember this was a very aggressive pullback. And what happened here was you saw heavy consolidation for about a month, and then it tricked obviously a lot of buyers in, and then it went down, and then you think it's going down. But remember that if we're going to mark up daily legs, if we were still looking at this as our leg, come into the golden and then went straight back up to make highs, and the weekly continued to go bullish. And you can't fight momentum when it's strong, especially when you start seeing candles like this one here or like this one here. You can't really fight that, because to correct that kind of move is going to take a significant area of liquidity, which is probably going to be these overall highs. So when you've got this higher high to target, throughout these months, you should just be knowing the overall targets here, and you keep scaling in to get in these trades, which is really, really clean. And we are going to get to the 4 hours soon, bringing that in. So we keep making these higher highs, and we obviously
that was on a weekly, Wilski.
This here is on a weekly.
Mm-hmm.
We hit this target, so we want to break through this high, obviously, if we're going to see more upside. So the daily here, I'm not sure what it does, but we see the structure. We've got a huge low, keep making higher highs. In here again, we start to struggle. We are still continuing up, but we can start to mark in these lows in case we want to clear them before going up. Once again, it comes out, takes this low out, because of this area being the overall weekly target. When we tap that, we are going to get a pullback, and the most recent pullback structural point is there. And as soon as you come into that, which he dropped a little bit lower, so it ended up taking out further lows here. This previous day closed below, wick below previous day, and then went up. So we saw that continuation in the end. If you go onto the 4 hour now to scale in, you can just start to see the bigger picture, where we created a lot of range in here, and then this is where the structure gets really difficult, because you see the momentum start drying out here, and then it does start to look like it's going to go down. But this is when you go too low a time frame, you start looking at this when you're like this, and you think it's going down overall, and then before you know it, you get that structural high break, just continues to make these highs that get respected, keep going up. So it's more important now, we're coming into the yearly high that formed, we do start to see how it's topped out. So what we saw here, going back to where we were, this previous yearly high got taken here, so we continued up, and then as we start going into this high, we're looking to see higher highs. We're waiting to see the momentum continue, and this starts to fail here. We don't get a body close, so already you know that we are bullish, but we've got this low to take out as a liquidity target. So whether or not you sell down to that is up to you. But on the 4 hour, it also makes sense, because when we look at this high, we never got 4 hour closures through. We had 2 attempts to break through it. So this, to me, is standing out. So either you can sell to this or wait for buys at it. And if we keep going down onto the daily, there's quite a lot of moving about. We should see this pullback. So we ended up faking out the highs again, tapped it, failed to break on the daily. Huge pullback. So you'd really want to see, if you want to sell it on the daily, breaks of this and pullbacks and lower structure. That's your sign to go down. But what we ended up doing is just continuing up, I think. We see what it's done. Continued up. So it's just the weekly still really bullish. So don't get caught out in when you're looking on the weekly and you're thinking that the daily now looks bearish, because we're creating a lower high there and we create another lower high there, but price is just searching for more liquidity to go up. And I think at this point it did start to top out. So once again, we ended up seeing this low. This is where it gets quite difficult in the summer, because we took out this, and if we're going to go down, we want to see that broken. The weekly never did. So the weekly now at this point is trying to create its lower structure, failing. We eventually get a break. So we get the break, we go down. So now this does look more bearish. At this stage, you could look at the market and you could say, we're looking very bearish. The reason why is because the weekly's creating a lower high. We see this overall high, obviously still not cleared, which is the main pullback that formed the new yearly high. If we go to the daily here, what we're expecting to see is, if this is the pullback to take out this low, we should be breaking down and respecting that high. But what we ended up doing is failing just. So we just did not take that out. At that point, we had to come all the way back, and then we took this out. And this is where we start to form a range. So what I want to say is when your market structure is clean and we're trending, it's very easy to call market structure. But as soon as you start ranging on the higher time frames, you are going to fail to take out market structure. So to be bearish, we didn't take out this. Then if we're going to go down, we want to take out this. So we start to get the confirmations that we are starting to look like we're going to go bearish. But even this now did not end up going down. So even that was not enough eventually to go down. And we just started to range. So this is where on the higher time frame, it's very hard to determine price. In the end, what we start to see around here is just more liquidity stacking up. And we also had quite a lot on the weekly there, I believe, as well. So we had that previous daily area, which is around here with this high. Price searched for that before it ended up seeing that final drop. And you can just see there, really hard to call, but we did end up going down. And only really now in the market, when we look at the weekly, you can determine that price tried to make a low, pulled back, created a lower high properly in here, then started to see finally breaking this area here on the wicks. But that's where we're at right now, where to say we're bearish still until we get a weekly close below here is actually really hard. So you can see that we are more bearish, but to call the overall higher time frames bearish, especially when the monthly here still is making higher highs. You know, we've seen one lower high. We are very bullish. So just keep in mind when you're trading, always search for liquidity. And also when you go down to the daily time frame, you're just understanding the lower lows and lower highs. And obviously this year, if you zoom out, it's very clean up until this point. If we were to get like an area here, as soon as we're like coming into this area, it becomes a lot more tricky because the buyers are getting caught out trying to buy here to the high. That fails. And then the sellers in here get caught out, and then it goes up, and then it drops. So you can see how that gets so many traders caught out there. But
so what would be like the entries for first of all, I've got quite a couple of questions. Like when you're looking at the chart, what are you considering an actual pivot? Because for me, I'm seeing, there's so many different places where you could consider that a pivot, but then suddenly you're putting your stop underneath and then it gets hit and you're like, actually, that wasn't the pivot of the actual move. So how do you pick the proper pivot of that specific leg?
So in determining bias, obviously most of that year is bullish until a certain point. And this was the point I was bearish on Pound USD on the weekly. And the reason why is because we saw that price came back into this fair value gap. And this was the retest to make a new high. So as soon as we start breaking below that, I would be looking at my target now being this. So why this was so difficult at the time is because I was looking for sales the following couple of weeks. That didn't play out. And my overall idea to see us be bullish again is because we came up and filled this area. I wanted to see a week close through this high so I could play the short-term buys back to this high. But because of the following week did all this, it could trick you out so many times. And I had to keep that bearish bias. And obviously I knew exactly at this point that this would definitely go down because price has taken out everything it needed to and definitely has failed. But in terms of the pivot, it's usually based for me on a weekly basis, not a daily, because as we saw on a daily, so many times it could look bearish. Like you're seeing the lower highs, lower lows. You might even break a higher low here, but it doesn't necessarily mean that the weekly time frame is ready to drop there. So yeah, for me, I always use the fair value gap. That's a massive part of my strategy to understand the overall changes in the overall movement in the market. But as you can see, sometimes just because I determined bearish here, it took 1, 2, 3, probably 2 months to actually start playing out. And you can see that it was choppy. All the way down here, it was really choppy. So the daily makes a lot of sense when you're seeing. I think especially once you see this break here, because this was the failed low.
Yeah, super difficult when you're actually in the middle of that range to understand what's going on though. At the moment, it looks clean. But
2
months ago, would have been
That's
really,
the
really
problem.
different.
Like, hindsight is a beautiful thing where you can make sense of everything, but when you've got a bias and you've got to stick to it, it's another story where I would sit there and say, well, if you made profit trading the buys all the way up here, and when you've definitely got that target on the weekly, it's even more of a confirmation. But as soon as you start creeping into all-time highs, and the reason why it makes sense is because generally, as we come up and break, into new highs, we get huge pullbacks. It happened there once, and then you made new highs. Where was it here? Huge pullback, and then again you made new highs here. So that's the point when you're looking at the higher time frames that there's a higher chance you're not just going to get a pullback on GU, but you're going to get a significant pullback. So really, this becomes an area of target for price, or we could break this. Well, I wouldn't expect them to break this, but I do definitely think this could be taken out at this point. But yeah, that's really the analysis. If anyone's got any questions, let me know for that.
Yeah. If anybody's got any questions other than Vinya, hi Alex, my interview is scheduled for tomorrow. See you there. Is there anything specific that I should prepare myself? There's quite a lot of stuff you need to prepare yourself for, mate.
It's just a trader one.
This is a trader pending payment. I think he's been a bit naughty. He's been a naughty trader. Nah, come to the interview, mate, with everything that, if you're genuine and everything is good, you're totally fine. We've seen a couple of activities in your trading account that's kind of dodgy. Not gonna lie. But there you go.
You're gonna scare him now, aren't you?
No, yeah, he's a professional. He knows what's cracking. It's okay. Wicked. Has anybody got any questions? To be fair, my market structure, honestly, is definitely one of the most important things in my opinion, and it's super difficult to see at the time as well, especially when you're stuck in a range. I remember that GU range, and you can get lost. You can get lost in there and just trading non-stop, and getting caught in that range, going long and then going short and doing all of these different things, because that's the kind of thing. Where do you take your pivots from? You're taking your pivots on the 4 hour, or you're taking your pivots from the dailies. It's very
my advice is you got to stick to one or the other. So whatever your strategy determines you do it on, you just got to stick to it, because if you get caught out in the range and then you go, now it's going to go up, and you're going to buy, and then it will go down, and then you go, I'm going to take a sell, and it's going to go up, and it'll keep doing that for weeks on end, and you just never know when the end is at that point.
Yeah. Mate, how many times have I got smashed in ranges? It's awful, man.
We do though, don't we? That's the thing.
Because you don't know it's a range until you're like 3 trades deep,
Usually.
So that's pretty much it. If anybody, so what did Vinya say? Okay, mate, all set. See, he's a professional. He knows what he's doing. He's a professional guy. Wicked. So we've had a nice little bit push up on gold, S&P.
Damn.
Wow, bro.
Big jump.
Okay. What's cracking on the S&P? That was from earlier today. Wow, we're going higher. This thing never wants to go down. A lot of, we were talking about earlier, a lot of people that we know are just going into futures, man. I'm not surprised with this. Oh. Well, there's my old drawings saying it was going to come down lower. But interesting stuff, man. Denzel, we're gonna have to get a workshop from you on GJ, bro. One day, you're gonna have to do it for us, bro. You can't just hold it into your community like that and not give us the source.
Whenever you guys are ready, yeah.
Yeah. We'll have to arrange it for some time next week, I reckon.
Sure.
Because GJ is an interesting one, pretty volatile.
Yeah, I feel like if you get it on the right move, right direction, it's blessed.
Yeah.
If not, it's just confusion and all that kind of stuff there.
It's good for market structure as well, GJ, to be fair.
Let's have a crack and let's have a look at GJ.
I feel like on all time frames, it's clean. You can look at it on the 1 hour, even on the 1 minute sometimes.
See, sometimes I just look at this and I'm like, what is there hard about trading when you're looking at this? Just like, it's just coming back to the EMAs. I bet you straight on like fibs and stuff, but for some reason, just when you're in it, it's just when you're in the trading day, sometimes you just can't see things objectively. And it's only when you look back and then suddenly you can see proper patterns and structures and stuff. But that is just trending, isn't it? Hard. Crazy.
Yes. Because GJ's been mostly overall very bullish over the last like 5-6 years. It's just been, if you get the right pullback and you sit out and then you get in the buy, just ride it.
Yeah, so what if all from this low, what we've had a few years of just, it's gone up like 64% since 2020. So 5 years it's gone 6 for a currency. That's pretty nuts.
I used to trade it back then in 2020.
Oh really?
Yeah.
You should have held, bro.
I should just
Should have just held.
Yeah.
Imagine you could have 10 lots on that. Be a millionaire, bro.
Would.
Imagine that. Poundo, we got the budget next week, I think. No.
Yes.
What are the thoughts on that? What are we thinking?
It's not looking good.
It's
That's all I'm gonna say.
not looking good.
No,
Yeah, man. It's going to be a pretty savage time, I think. But it's interesting though, because we're looking at pound, and pound is still pretty strong.
It's been alright this week. We had inflation come out, I think. Lower. It was higher than forecast by 0.1, but still 0.2% lower than previous.
Let's have a look. Oh yeah. Wow, so a lot of the news came out today. So yeah, non-farm payrolls. That was what Denzel was trading.
Mm-hmm.
What pound news did we have?
Was it yesterday?
We had CPI.
Which actually was lower. It's not as low as what they want it to be, though, isn't it? They're trying to get it at like a 2% or something like that.
Get down. It's been rising the last half a year up to now. So, shit.
Yeah, surprising as well, because they're taxing absolutely everybody, and it's like, who's got spare money now just to go out and do things and buy things? And don't know, man. Don't know. We'll see what we get with this gold. It's come back down to the top of this this little range right here.
Saw something in the UK. I think it's like 250k people last year left.
What, the UK? Because of tax?
Yeah, because the taxes and that. They're just getting fed up.
I don't blame them. I don't blame them. And then you got places like Dubai that is just doing tax free and stuff. Oh, hold on a second. Is that just added another order?
Shit.
No, that's added 3 orders, man. This bloody trade locker. Hopefully this will be a little bit of a better one than yesterday, because I literally added in yesterday and it was at the top of the market. I had a trading interview with Sackett today. Wow, that guy has got a story, man.
Give that a watch.
Yeah, hopefully that will get released probably next week. He went through being a dancer. We were watching his dancing stuff yesterday, bro, and I thought he was gonna come out with like some ballet dancing and a ballet dancer or something. No, he's like a full on like hip hop, like this crazy dancing stuff. And then he became a trader. Got into loads of debt and stuff, trying to become a trader, and blew up and lost loads of money, and then got into prop and started making it. Fair play to him, man.
How old is he?
I didn't ask.
We asked
this yesterday. We asked everybody. Actually, no, he said yesterday. No, didn't he?
Yeah, 27.
27.
Age as you, Denzel.
I know. We went through this. Yeah, he said 21, bro.
I'm 21.
Life's been too good, man. Life's been too good. Nah, 20. You're 27 as well. No, 28. Sorry. Yeah.
Will's 28, yeah?
Nah, I'm 25.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm a young one.
I remember when I used to be able to tell my age and I'll be like, oh yeah, I'm the youngest person in the room. And I'm like, yeah. And now I'm like, getting there, man. Getting a bad back and stuff. Having to put on like a belt when I'm doing deadlifts these days. Oi, oi, oi.
Trading ages here as well, though. Before you know it, 2 years have gone by.
What's that?
Just trading. You don't realise because you just... The years just go out of nothing.
Because you're locked in, aren't you? You're always like, when you first get into trading as well, you're like fully focused. All you want to do is just make it as a trader. It's like you put everything else onto the side, man. So there's a big opportunity cost when it comes to trading as well. Because you really like put everything to the side.
Yeah, I've sacrificed a lot in my young years. Like,
mate, to be fair, like investment banking would have done you pretty good. I don't know how happy you would have been though, to be fair. Seems like pretty savage.
turned you out.
Yeah.
People do it for 3 to 5 years and then they can't do it anymore unless they're just different breed, and then they'll go up the level.
That and accounting are just two things that I would never even think of. This is not looking too good now. We're looking like we're actually failing.
Just as you added to it as well.
Yeah, it's these bloody ads, man. It looked good if it comes and then takes me out of the bottom, and that's just it, to be fair. But it's still in play unless it breaks that low. And if it breaks that low, then I think we're gonna be aiming for these ones over here. But gold's also in an interesting spot though, because you're in the, to be fair, like where's my... If we're talking about market structure like we were talking about like earlier, at the end of the day, we're still in this bullish range. So anything really in here, until it breaks properly this level, everything is long in my opinion. You've had those breaks of the highs here, come back down into this area of demand. I don't know, man. Like, I think we're gonna see higher prices. But there you go, you're short, so
This is what I was saying. Like, the only reason why it looks the best for sales than it has all year, just down to the fact we saw such an aggressive sell-off a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
So the reason why, compared to what we've seen.
Yeah, when I look at I just look at the weekly, it's like when it's been a long time since we've actually broken that weekly level, that weekly EMA. We've got that like kind of doji candle as well. Got that kind of like doji candle. It's a tough one, man. It's a tough one because if you're even looking at this, we're still bullish on this in this area. We go on to a daily. We're coiled up, price action broken above these, come back to retest like that. There is room to say like this is still bullish as shit.
Yeah, I think the big thing will be that first line you've got that's higher up.
That break. I think then we've got the last little bit of support, but then again that would then confirm that this would be that lower high maybe, and then obviously your bias of it being short. Where's your target?
It's at 3,850.
3,850. Okay, that low, pretty much that low, just a little bit under.
Yeah.
And your stop is
stops at 4. Let me have a look. 4,325. It's quite high up.
Yeah, it's just on these areas right here, these highs. We got paid to play, to be fair, but it's quite difficult to trade, in all honesty. I'm liking the way that they're structurally right on that level. I'm liking that we've done that kind of like head and shoulders type pattern on the prior highs pre-break, but we'll have to see what's cracking with it, to be fair.
I thought with what we saw today, I thought we would have saw with the news coming out for the first time.
I thought we were going to. Yeah, I agree. We didn't really know what really happened. What really happened? Like, not a fat lot. Let's. If I put trading view. Let's have a look at G. Oh, well, actually, no. GU's pushed up. Okay, no, fair enough. Okay. So this is actually the area that I was thinking that we were going to sell off. Like, this is, was it 4 hour at the start? No, sorry. I was thinking we were going to come up here before we came down, to be fair. The moment, this just looks like a nice area just to actually sell back down, maybe to the 289, 38 level down here. I'm struggling to do this swing trading though, man. I'm struggling to hold on to trades like that. It's really difficult.
Because it could take another week to get to where I'm looking for a sell, and that's if I even want to sell it at that point.
What's your
really high,
which is here?
Yeah.
Ooh,
it's a long way away.
But to be fair, it's pretty valid because if we're talking about market structure, again. Let me get rid of these.
It's a good inducement level if we fail to come down and take this low. Definitely.
That's weird. What are these? Not sure what these lines are, but yeah, so you've got that level underneath that, and then this is quite a big range to play in, to be fair. Like, it's massive. So it could theoretically just come back up, take out take out those highs and still pretty much be short, but it'd be, I don't know, man. It's very difficult to, I'd probably look to short on an intraday if we come back down onto that level, and then I'd take it out after it's taken out that high. See if the patience, I can be patient enough to wait for it. That's a different thing. Where's Denzel gone?
Done a runner, isn't he?
Yeah, man. He's falling asleep on us. Yeah, he's probably. I'm gonna have to bounce on it. Oh, I mean. So what's everybody else looking at? We've got 7 people in the chat. So tell us if you want us to look at anything. What are you looking at? What trades have you been in recently? I know Vinay has been trading gold, so I wonder if he'd be long or short right now. Everybody is trading gold. We got like 90% of the people with us trading gold.
It's really high.
Yeah. Surprising. Not that surprising, but still.
You got anyone trading cryptos?
No.
No.
Which is weird because we're actually pretty. Yeah, no, we do. Yeah, we do. Bitcoin. Yeah, we have a couple of crypto traders. That for me is like, let's have a look at what that's doing right now.
Still dropping.
Just
decimation.
If we have a look on the weekly, doesn't look like, on one hand it looks still we're in like this uptrend, but on the other hand we've lost all the EMAs. We've had 4 weeks of solid down. Don't know. But it's like, again, we were talking about market structure on this. Where would you have said, okay, so this would have been that high? Would you have put the market structure low there? Or would you have put the market structure low as being that?
So the not the top line, but the one below it, I would say that's a minimum to get taken out. And then once you see the candle 2 weeks ago, then that makes sense there, yeah. And then it's broken through that. So you'd be looking down for that 75, 76k at the minute. But like, if I was to mark out a solid buy leg on the weekly, I'd probably have the low at 75, 76k, because that's when the last real pushing momentum was past the previous highs. So that could get respected and we could go up.
Why would it? Yeah, it could, because it's not far from entering that zone, to be honest.
Same time, if we break that, I think that really could be the signal of potential further downside.
To be honest, it's like, if it comes into this, area, and then we start getting like a little bit of a push up, maybe that's kind of a signal that we should kind of maybe start getting out of crypto, start getting out of positions. Depends if you're like holding long term or not, in all fairness, but that kind of dead cat bounce, if we have a look, something like this as well, it's the same. I remember these times because everybody thought it was going to go to 100k when it was up here, and it broke down that level, retraced, and then just died.
Yeah, I remember that. The hype of 100k was there, wasn't it?
Yeah, because we had this distribution type of pattern, that kind of Wyckoff type of pattern where you've got that last impulse, before just trapping traders and then just going totally down. But then when it came up into here and it started pushing off, everybody was saying, okay, you know, and do you blame anyone? Like I was also like fully long everything, you know, thinking it was going to just continue and continue and continue. The rest is history.
Yeah, it's a good opportunity if we pull back hard now to get in. Definitely.
You'd get in?
Even I might get in.
Even you might get it. What are we talking about? A spot, or are we talking about some?
It'd be a long term.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fair enough. Abdullah, what's going on, mate?
Got him on.
We'll give it a couple more minutes, see what happens with this gold trade. But I see everybody's kind of slowly dying out. I know Abdullah trades a lot of crypto. In all fairness, he likes trading Bitcoin. Looks like it's failing, to be fair. We'll see what happens right now, and then if it comes down and breaks down this low, then I'll get out of the position and we'll call it a day off the stream. Go on, since it's dead in here, we'll call it a day. All right, guys.
Yeah.
We'll see you later. Nice one for joining. And we'll speak to you all soon.
Take care.
That's it, traders. So if you're ready to take your evaluation, you can go in the link in the description. You can start today. But if you're here just for the content, then make sure you like and subscribe to make sure that